Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with an intro for my 2019 project Pan. So before we start off, I'm just gonna do a little bit of a disclaimer because I am in a new location and this is actually at my parents' house. I am pre-filming a bit while I'm home for Christmas so that I can upload while I'm in London. But let's just start jumping straight into the video. So last year I was planning the Stila in the Lights palette. I actually have, I think, 2 more updates for that one. But I decided to start the series now in the beginning of January so that I can keep up and kind of catch up on the series for next year. And also since I'm doing a bit of a different type of project, I thought that it was fine to start this earlier. So what I'm going to do this year for my Panda palette is I'm going to do kind of like a roulette style, and this is heavily influenced by my friend here on YouTube, Alexandra, who posted a series last year, or I think she's still doing it, which is called Pan Those Eyeshadows, and that's mainly where I got this inspiration from. So what I'm going to do basically is take all my palettes, I have them all right here next to me, and I have written them all down in my bullet journal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to randomize a number and that kind of correlates to a palette or a category of single eyeshadows. I have my Colourpop SuperShock shadows in their own category, and then I have the remaining of my single shadows as well as my duos in a separate category. So every number corresponds to one of those kind of categories. And if, for example, I draw this one, which is the UVS Place Magic palette, what I do next is that I will randomize a color within this palette. So in this case, the palette looks like this. I will go from 1 to 4 and then so on until I get to 16, which is the color right here. So that's how I will do it. I know Alexandra did it, like she randomly choose a palette and then she got to choose the color, but I want to do it all at random, so that's what I'm gonna do. Also, I do want to give a shout out to Rebecca Morgan because she actually posted a really similar intro about a week ago or 2 weeks ago, depending on when I post this video. And she's also doing something really similar for this year. So I will leave both her and Alexis channels down below so you can check their videos out. But yeah, let's just jump straight into choosing the palettes. So as of now I have 23 categories. I have all my palettes as well as my single shadows and my SuperShock shadows. If I do buy any more palettes throughout the year, I will continue putting them at the bottom of this list so I can include them in this project as well. But I'm going to start by putting in 1 to 33 into my randomizer. So the first palette will be number 19, which is the NYX In Your Element Air palette. So you've seen this palette on my channel before. I picked this up in 2018, and if I can get it open, this is what the palette looks like. Yeah, it's quite a pastel palette, but I really love it. So let's go and randomize a color in this palette. So since there are 12 shades, I'm going to put in 1 through 12 and go and randomize. And we get number 2, and number 2 is this kind of yellowy shade right here. So that is the first shade. It's just like a really light yellowy shade, and it will be really good to set my eyeshadow primer with, which is awesome. So yeah, those shades I tend to go through a bit quicker. And I think I forgot to mention as well, my goal will be to hit pan on all these shades. I do not want to finish them, so I will continue working on them until I hit pan on them, and then I will roll another shade in. And also I will start with 5 palettes or 5 shades, and then I will go from there. If I feel like I need more shades in this challenge, I will include more as we go, but I will start with 5. So this one in here is the first shade. So again, we're gonna go from 1 to 23, and we randomize to get number 1, which is actually one of my C palettes, and this is my plain black C palette. And this is what it looks like. So these are all the shades, and I think this will be a bit harder to kind of decide how I want to go. But I think I'm gonna go from 1 through to, so I'm gonna go to these 5. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, I think. Get number 3. So actually number 3 is this shade right here, which I already have pan on, so I'm gonna jump over that and randomize a new number. So we get number 15, which, if I remember correctly, is the last shade that I chose, which is this shade right here. And it's this kind of bluey shade. And this is from a Wet n Wild quad or palette, I think. I think it's called Color in the Street or something. And that is the shade right there. So that will definitely be an interesting shade to incorporate. I do not use that many colorful eyeshadows, but this will be fun to play with. So that is the second shade that I will try to hit pan on. So next palette will be number 6, and number 6 is my Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette. So this is what the palette looks like. You've probably all seen this before, and it has 14 shades, so let's go and randomize a shade to work with. So let's go 1 to 14, and let's get number 14, which is the last shade in the palette, and that one is Realgar right there. So that is the third shade that I got, and like I said, it's Realgar from Modern Renaissance. So the fourth palette will be number 3. So number 3 is another one of my C palettes, and that is this one right here, which is my kind of holographic black palette. And I do not have too many shades in here at the moment. I have 6 of them, and I will go ahead and randomize one of these to work with. So 1 through 6, and we get number 2. Yay! Number 2 is this one right here, which is from Nabla, and I think this one is Alchemy? No, yeah, this one is Alchemy from Nabla Cosmetics, and I actually think this will work really well with the blue because it's kind of like this kind of duochrome shade. So that is the Alchemy shade from Nabla. I feel like this will work quite well because it could both go with the blue as well as the Wilgo shade, because it has like a purpley blue shift, but it is kind of like a warm brown at the base. So let's choose my final shade for the introduction of this video, and that will be number 6. So as you may remember, number 6 we already had, and that was the Modern Renaissance by Anastasia. So let's just go ahead and choose another color in this palette. And if I would get 14 again, I will obviously choose another color, and that will be from the same palette. But let's go ahead and randomize, and we get number 5. So number 5 in the palette is Antique Bronze right there. And that is Antique Bronze, which will be my final shade for the introduction. So those will be my first 5 shades. I'm actually quite pleased with the selection. The only one that I'm a bit worried about is the blue shade, because I feel like all of the rest kind of goes really well together, but the blue will probably be a really nice pop of color. However, I am not using colors that much at the moment, but we'll work with it, and I'm sure that I can come up with some really exciting looks with these shades. So that was the introduction for this video. I really hope you enjoyed this idea. I thought that I would do something different, and I'm quite excited to do this because I feel like after doing my Panda palette for last year, I haven't really played around with my collection at all. And I do really want to get some use out of all of my palettes, which is why I decided to do my Panda palette project like this year. Also, like I mentioned, my goal is to hit pan on shades, not to finish them, and I feel like that's a good kind of option for me because I do want to have my collection used and I want it to look used. And also, before I've been kind of scared to use shades because I was scared to use them up, but after panning a palette and panning other things, I kind of realized that it takes much longer to finish an item up than you think. And also, once you hit pan, there's still so much product left in the palette that you can use. So I am not that scared to hit pan anymore, which is kind of why I wanted to do this project. And I'm really excited to get some use out of all of my palettes this year and hopefully hit a pan on a lot of shadows so I can show you guys, because I know how exciting it is to follow someone else's project and to see pans pop up throughout the project. But yeah, that was basically it. Please let me know what you think of this idea. I am so excited, and hopefully it's fine that I'm doing this instead of a Panda palette this year, because yeah, I feel like I need to get some use out of my collection. I thought that I could do a Panda palette too this year, but then I kind of realized that if I do that, then I probably won't play around with my other palettes that much at all, because it took up so much of my time last year panning my Stila in the Lights palette, and I'm so happy with the progress that I've gotten on that one, and I'm almost done with it. But yeah, I just want to get some use out of the rest of my shadows. Give this a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and also make sure to check out Alex's and Rebecca's channels down below because they're both doing this project. And yeah, I will talk to you in my next video. Bye guys!